Hello, what is up ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Maxi here, and I am back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Wario Land 2 for the Game Boy/Game Boy Color. So, last time we have managed to able to completely done with the forms of Chapter 3, despite there are some few hiccups here and there, most notably with the forms of jump and crouch to the right problem issue, and also same applies to the forms of that, with that treasure room and the forms of Story 4 in Chapter 3. So today for this episode is the fact that we are moving on to the next chapter, Chapter 4 in Town. So Story 1 is the fact that we need to stop the train. So basically, if you ever played the original Wario Land game before, in this case Wario Land Super Mario Land 3, then you do realize is that the train levels does make a return. Or in this case, I think there was only one train level as far as I'm concerned, even though I may be wrong. Mainly it's because it has been about a couple of, hours since I actually last touched upon this game, since, of course, ever since on Monday. So because of this though, and also you've noticed ever since in yesterday is that some toys else has managed to able to do their Let's Play, or in this case a redo Let's Play actually, of the forms of Super Monkey Ball since yesterday. At least specifically, the one that started it all in terms of this amazing series. Well, despite there's some downhill games here and there for adventure and all that stuff, but regardless of everything else though, there's not much else I can honestly try to think about it. And plus that game will be about 20 years old. Well, specifically, the arcade game will be 20 years old until the next few days. Like, specifically, because of this though, today's day is of course the 9th of June today, in this case in 2021 today, and it looks like that yes, we've only got about 3 more days to go until this year's E3 is about to approach. So even then though, in fact, let me know in the comments below for the question of the day, that are you still excited with the forms of E3 announcements coming up until the next 3 days? Because I sure do as well, and especially noticeable that another one of those question of the day, what's your predictions when it comes to the forms of E3 announcements? Because I know there are some predictions out there. They keep on mentioning about the forms of the new Mario Party game, if that seems to be happening, despite the fact that Super Mario Party has already got the online updates thing ever since during the forms of April throughout the year, and also same applies to a new Mario Kart game, and heck, even with the forms of some other... Oh, son of a biscuit, why is that bird always gives me a hard time? But I digress. And another predictions that anyone else keeps on mentioning about is of course, let's just say some more Zelda related games, and also same applies to the forms of well, let's just say in terms of the final 2 Super Smash Bros. Ultimate characters and all that stuff though, because after all we only got 2 fighters left until, well, that game will be completely finished by then. Like, either way though, I still have some fun with the forms of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, still, even though they might actually be quite a few days actually, since I actually did manage to come back into that game. Clearly it's because I'm still waiting for, some DLC fighters, and also to top it off, then I was gonna be busy playing through, still new Pokemon Snap recently today, and also same applies to Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity recently, and heck, even with the forms of until the next few days, mainly with like, I think we've only got about 16 days to go until Mario Golf Super Rush for the Nintendo Switch will be releasing. So, in fact, I'm still excited for it, and also, obviously with some more announcements in the future, though, from the likes of Sega. Now, we've already noticed about the fact that we already know that the next batch of Sonic games will be coming at some point, like, as far as what Sonic has already mentioned about ever since in Banjo-Kazooie Let's Play, that he mentions that obviously Sonic Colors Ultimate for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One/Series X is coming, along with the Nintendo Switch version as well, and heck, even the forms of the PC version, despite the fact that, unfortunately though, much like in several other Kingdom Hearts games, unfortunately though, that Sonic Colors Ultimate is going to be exclusively on Epic Store once again. And I was like, okay, I have no idea why they go for that decision choice, despite the fact that most people hasn't actually access to Epic Store for quite some time. Even though that, you know, much like the majority of the Kingdom Hearts games isn't that the Ocarina? It appears to be, because I can definitely see the actual, something related to Zelda-related thing. So, in this case, though, yes, we actually got ourselves the Ocarina, which appears to be a reference to, well, technically speaking, A Link to the Past, if you try to find that, and also, obviously, Ocarina of Time, of course, because that game utilizes, you know, time travel and all that stuff, though, between the past and present day, or anything else like that. So, either way, though, it's kind of hard to explain, because I know it has been quite a few, oh, sweet, I got myself a 100 silver coin, so that's awesome. So, anyway, yeah, because it has been quite a few days since I actually played something related to the Legend of Zelda games, basically, because I'm expecting to able to be hyped for The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD specifically until almost about a month. So, either way though, although the only downside is though, is the fact that with the forms of that, you know, with the forms of that fast, travel system, like, you know, between the land and sky, that, unfortunately though, has been locked by an amiibo, which, you know, just like the forms of how it does on the Cave of Shadows from Twilight Princess HD, so, yeah, that's something, I suppose, but I digress. And also that, apparently though, that some people keeps on mentioning about the forms of how the fact that with the new Sonic game coming out in 2022, that they did mention about the fact that they're gonna give a name, like, according to the forms of the rumors of leaks out there, yes, there are still leaks out there, and apparently that game will, it was about to be able to call it, Sonic Rangers or something, even though that, we haven't know about that yet, even then though, we'll find out until next year, and, unfortunately though, although the studio behind, the forms of the next Sonic game is coming until next year, like, obviously that's, well, it's kind of hard to explain, because I know it has been, well, quite a few days actually, since I actually did manage to mention about something related to Sonic the Hedgehog, but, either way though, it knows what it is for the sake of time, so, anyway, so let's go ahead and just, keep on using those coins to, basically guess the number, and it turns out it is number 9, because I can definitely see that familiar, you know, these outlines, or just lines in general, but hey, at least we accomplished that. So that just brings us to the 16th piece, so even then though, we pretty much almost gonna fill up the entire, the map itself. So, story 2, up on the rooftop. So this meaning we can now get into the actual town itself, so, yeah, that's all I can say about this. I mean, usually we're going to this city, so, yeah, that seems pretty cool and all that stuff, so, yeah, anyway, as I was mentioning this earlier about the forms of, the team is working on the forms of the next Sonic title released in 2022, the Sonic Forces, Sonic Generations team are actually working on the next, new Sonic game, which it might worry some people because either way though, that they just think that Sonic Forces is actually kind of a meh game. But at least for Generations though, I can able to enjoy that game a bit more than Forces though. But yeah, there's another thing that Sonic hasn't mentioned about this either, and that was the fact that, well, I'm pretty darn sure that classic Sonic is nowhere to be seen in the new Sonic game for 2022. Although if it does though, it'll be like, oh my goodness gracious me, what is going on with the actual whole thing at the moment? But again, we'll see what happens to join at some point until next year for sure. In fact, we might able to actually do that Let's Play of it at some point for, I don't know, on the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One or Nintendo Switch. The only exception being the forms of God knows for Xbox Series X if I was gonna get it, or the PlayStation 5 version, just because, well, obviously my capture card does not have full... How the heck am I supposed to get knockback? Anyway, as I was saying, because, usually for my capture card, you know, with the Roxo Game Capture HD Pro, that obviously, unfortunately, that capture card does not have full capabilities of 4K resolution. So yeah, that's why we're gonna have to stick with the forms of PS4 or Nintendo Switch version, or even the Xbox One version, depending on what systems I might consider getting in the future, like Xbox One or Series X. But again, we'll have to wait and find out until, you know, God knows when, until the next few days is coming. So oh my god, what is going on with these stupid enemy placements? And I'm gonna go all the way back again! Oh jeez, what is going on with my awkward jumps on it sometimes? But oh well, we'll keep trying. So, and then also another prediction that most people seem to say when it comes to this year's E3 is they're expecting to be able to actually announce something related to, like, well, God knows, like Metroid and all that stuff though, and even the forms of the rumored Nintendo Switch Pro, which actually supports 4K and everything. But again, we'll have to wait and see what happens and join at some point until the next 3 days now. So because of this though, yeah, it's not too long from here at this point. So because of this though, yeah, for the time being, while you know how the fact that Mighty the Armadillo was working on the forms of his Mario Party 5 Let's Play recently, and hopefully I'm also able to fetch some popcorn and then trying to be hyped about the forms of more E3 announcements. In fact, I'm actually excited when it comes to likely this year's E3, more than the forms of how it does it on, well, how terrible last year was, but I digress. And, speaking of such though, is the fact that, usually when it comes to that specific fruition, obviously that in around the same month actually, is the fact that the new Disney Pixar film called, Lusa, which basically represents likely the, something more accurately a tropical themed, film, which actually has a huge emphasis on human transform into a fish or something like that, which, I don't know, usually I can able to actually just to see it in day one, unfortunately, because I was expecting to able to see it on a big screen, but unfortunately though, it was moved on to the actual, well, Disney Plus exclusive, so because of that though, yeah, they really do miss those days where it comes to able to see the big screen with all these intense noises in the background, and even especially noticeable with the actual, like, some enjoyable loudness, which, either way though, that usually just becomes more accurately a well, it's kind of hard to explain because I know it has been, you know, quite a few minutes since I actually mentioned something related to that, but still, I can't deny about that. So anyways, in this level right here is the fact that the actual main emphasis in this level is pretty simple. You have to make your way to the rooftop, and then that's all you really have to do. And that's the end of the level right there, but let's not go in there just yet, because we'll enter this left door, and basically, they'll able to lead us to the, well, let's just say the back doorway or something like that, but usually as far as I can gather about that anyway. And oh look, we actually got ourselves the familiar name. If you manage to keep on going to the right, well, assuming if I was trying to able to keep on shoving this little object right there. Oh look, it does say Nintendo. Get it? Because, you know, Wario is a Nintendo character, which is probably true for that circumstances. So even then though, that's actually kind of awesome to able to actually see that familiar Nintendo word. So yeah, talking of Nintendo E3, then boom, there you go. Even though that, unlike, you know, Let's Play of Mario Party Advance back in 2018, that we're expecting we can able to do some sort of like a typo kind of thing else like that, but nope, that does not look is going to be the case. But the reason why we're entering in that room is because, well, the treasure room is just nearby, so good thing we did manage to find it. So either way though, once again we're going to have to select normal mode for the time being, and yeah, everything else will comes together for that part, so. Alright, so I'm guessing, as far as I'm aware, on the first box. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure I got that right, so. There we go, we got ourselves a disc. Or more accurately, like a CD disc, or something like that. Like a CD-ROM, DVD-ROM, or, yeah, just all kinds of discs you can think of, so. But anyways, let's leave the level, and, well, I'm quite surprised that level's kind of short, too. because I was expecting that the train level will be also kind of short as well. But either way though, it's just the amount of exploration you're gonna have to put up with. Even especially noticeable just trying to collecting, you know, coins and such later down the road, but you probably get the idea about that. So, is it gonna be 8 or 6? I'm guessing it's 6, because I can definitely tell from that little thing right there. So, yep, 6 as it is. So there's the 17th picture panel right here, so thankfully we did manage to able to accomplish that, of course. Awesome, swell stuff. Alright, so story 3, down in the cellar. So this meaning about the fact that we actually go in the inside of the actual the building, and all we need to do now is just basically we need to head down to the cellar. So yeah, that's basically how this goes, basically. So, and while we're at it though, I'm pretty sure this level does have a lot of emphasis on elevating, so yeah, that could be something that we're more able to hit into. Like, for instance, there's one over there, so if you stand on one of those elevator platforms, basically it can either take you up or takes you down. So yeah, in this case, this one goes up, and then there are some few elevation platforms that will either take you downwards. But here's the thing, in order to able to go down though, is the fact that if you want to able to go down like that one over there, well, basically you have to able to let that enemy toss the cake at you, and then you have to become fat in order to able to actually just well, not only just try to able to break those hard blocks, but also just try to able to regress from that little elevator platform. So yeah, that's something worth going for. I was literally that close right there, but thankfully I could able to eat the cake again. So yeah, that's nothing to say about this for the most part. So alright, so let's just go and keep on moving forward, and then keep on entering those different rooms before worth noting for. So yeah, you get the suggestion by that point. So, and also another thing as well is the fact that, oh jeez Louise, man, I did not expect, crying out loud, oh my god, what is going on right there? I was supposed to able to actually just try to, actually no matter what though, let me just stop on him, and then destroy those enemy blocks while using the enemy, and then I did not meant to do that. Because the reason, well, I just want to get to the next room, right there. Oh well, but usually as I said, since how the fact that the enemies do respawn from time to time like that right there, so oh boy. Anyway, another thing I just want to classify for something worth mentioning for is that recently I managed to able to actually pick up the forms of, well, I don't suppose that I've actually mentioned about this, or Sonic has even mentioned about, ever since in the Banjo-Kazooie Let's Play, that, and even myself, when it comes to this Let's Play in general, Wario Land 2, I've managed to recently pick up the forms of 2 more physical stuff. Mainly with, like, one DS game specifically. Now, remember what Sonic has already mentioned about the fact that we have managed to got Kirby Power Paintbrush and Kirby Mass Attack on the Wii U eShop downloadable versions? Well, apparently, I managed to able to actually classify for able to getting myself the physical version of Kirby Power Paintbrush, aka Canvas Curse in America. And the only reason is because of curiosity, and also because I'm saving for the Wii U version as for Let's Play at some point in the future. So, and then I'm also able to get myself a bit of some practice when it comes to the DS physical form on Power Paintbrush, and that could be also applied for Mass Attack if I eventually try to get it. But, not now though, because we are going to be hyped for this year's E3 until the next 3 days, so anyway, and yeah, I might able to actually decide to do some other Kirby Let's Plays in the future, along with Kirby Star Allies and potentially Kirby Triple Deluxe, even though Slim Kirby was actually currently doing his Let's Play of Kirby Triple Deluxe recently. So yeah, and his Let's Play is awesome, especially because, well, obviously I always watch some several other Slim Kirby videos throughout the whole years. Well, Couple of Let's Plays exceptions, mind you, but for some others though, I was into it, so... Anyway, and speaking of Slim Kirby actually, he is starting his Let's Play of, well, WarioWare Touched. Because even though technically, he was expecting to be able to do WarioWare Twisted, but he did mention about the fact that technically, well, usually relatively speaking, that WarioWare Twisted came out before Touched, but ultimately for North America, usually for WarioWare Touched came out first, and then the WarioWare Twisted came out as in the third entry in the North American releases or something. So, at least if I'm assuming that correctly. So, yeah, that's pretty much how that goes. And, well, he's doing a really good job at this point so far. So, yeah, in fact, we might able to still curiously try to able to go for the series of WarioWare stuff once we able to, well, complete several of Wario Land series of games first. But either way though, we'll find out during at some point in the next few years if, God knows, if the YouTube might actually screw me up or something, so with updates and everything, so... But I digress. I wasn't paying attention. Okay, there we go. Whew, that was a bit too close, because if I somehow got this wrong, then I'm gonna have to keep on farming some more coins and then just trying to stuck with hard mode as it goes by. So, but thankfully I did manage to see the first box coming, so yeah, that should be awesome. So anyway, and another game I did manage to recently picked up, and now it's the forms of Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time for the Nintendo Switch. And thank God, I've now finally got the physical version of the game. Although sure, the actual visuals in the Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time on the Switch may look a bit worse than its HD counterpart, mainly with like PlayStation 4, Xbox One, or recently Xbox Series X, and even PlayStation 5 versions. But regardless of everything else though, I'm glad able to have Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time, and now I can able to play the game on the go. And as I said before, I'm very glad I managed to get a physical version of the game, at least in the UK version that is. Because I was expecting for the better alternative by able to actually just to pick up the American version, but the truth is though, is the fact that due to this whole, well, you know what I mean, and I don't feel like trying to talk about it ever again. But either way though, because usually Nintendo Switch is region free, which is good news, but usually I'm not a big fan of how the fact that several of game titles on the spines are actually on the far left as opposed to in the center of the spine. Maybe it's because I'm pretty much, you know, used to it at this point throughout the years, but that's probably just me anyway. So either way though, because it was expecting to able to actually get the physical version of Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time on the Switch in the UK, but it turns out it didn't happen at first during the course of March the 12th. But it wasn't until later on in this month in June that I somehow managed to able to finally obtain the game. So even then though, I was really happy about that right now. Especially that, God knows until when the next new Crash Bandicoot game is on the works. So, at least what I've heard about several rumors out there, so yeah, that seems going to be surprising to notice. So, anyway, so let's go ahead and move on to the next level. But before we get into the next level, we need to deal with this particular thing here. And I'm guessing this is 2. Yeah, not doing too bad on this though, I don't think. So either way though, this is our 18th piece. So yeah, looks like we've almost made it to the forms of the halfway point of these map pieces. So, alright, story 4, Escape from the Factory. So in this case, we now ended up in the actual factory environment. So yeah, it seems kind of weird, but hey, at least that's something, I suppose. Oh, in this level is the fact that... Oh, seriously? Come on. Thank you. Oh, Jesus Louise. Anyway, so the main emphasis on this level, as you can see, is the fact that we need to go for a serious amount of conveyor belts. And, well, if you do manage to able to find a switch, that if you manage to able to... Well, let's just say... Oh yeah, there's actually a trick I want to show you guys, but before I do that, I need to, well, activate that switch, as you can see on screen. and then basically that allows you to able to change the conveyor belt's directions. So, yeah, that's sure it's something, I suppose. Okay, so here's the trick I was talking about, and that it appears to be by the forms of, well, if I was trying to pull this off correctly. Oh, come on. There we go. As you can see, this is the forms of a crouch, well, usually dash crouching technique, which, it kind of feels a bit tricky to get used to at first, but when you get the hang of it though, it's actually not too bad. Well, assuming if you try to pull this off correctly, and that is, well, trying to able to press the B button and then, in a split second, you're gonna have to able to press the down directional pad for almost instant. Now what you would be able to actually just to no longer trying to deal with the slow crouching sections, which it might be pretty useful though, especially whenever we get towards at the very end, even though we can't do anything in there at the moment, because as you can tell, the end of the level is just right there. But here's the thing, we do need to able to actually, like, you know, keep on switching between those different directions of those conveyor belts first, so that might actually give us a bit of time. So either way though, yeah, as you can see, that technique right there is really useful, especially if you ever try to deal with, like, well, as far as I've seen several speedruns of this game though, they might actually deal with the forms of that trick, but I haven't really looked upon that much of speedruns these days because, well, I haven't seen a new ones ever since doing any forms of, well, since when some new games come out, like, you know, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, and also say applies to other titles even there as well, but either way though, it knows where it stands, so. But anyway though, let's just go ahead and keep on changing the conveyor belt's direction, so just in case we can get sense of progression. And if I recall correctly, that the treasure room is gonna be, well, we'll find out in soon whenever we're able to keep on exploring this stage well enough, so. But yeah, there's not much right to home about when it comes to this discussion at this point. Well, aside from the fact that, well, usually I'm still pretty hyped when it comes to this year's E3. In fact, whenever we're able to actually do the next chapter, until at some point until this Friday, basically that will be the perfect opportunity. If we manage able to accomplish the next chapter, then we should able to celebrate when it comes to this year's E3. So even then though, that should be pretty hyped. So anyways, let's go and get rid of these little jerks right here, because sometimes they're able to toss the actual, a wine bottle of any sort, and basically if you get hit by that, then you suffer from knockback, which, that won't be a good thing. Even it wasn't until in Wario Land 3 that it will able to retain the actual knockback system, but apart from those side things though, you no longer lose coins in Wario Land 3, which I think is actually a good thing, so. Because, again, we'll point it out whenever we get onto Wario Land 3 at some point until this September, along with Banjo-Tooie. So, because of that, though, yeah, there's gonna be a giant, massive games we have to go through. Even though, originally, we were expecting to be able to do the actual Let's Play of Splatoon and Splatoon 2, because of Splatoon 3 is going to be on the horizon. Well, at least specifically in 2022, mind you. So, at least expecting to be hyped about the third entry. So, either way though, seriously, I'm having so much of a struggle with these stupid bird-like enemies. Even though they always showed up as soon as when I was trying to do some pretty tricky platforming tips and tricks here and there. But regardless of such though, I did manage to grab these coins from up there, so that's okay enough. So anyway, so let's go down here, and basically, oh no, we're gonna have to deal with the actual jump and right crouch thing again, aren't we? Yep, I just know it. Especially it's bad enough that my right arrow key pad, it doesn't seem to work with me most of the time. Like, seriously, whoever thought that my right keypad was actually kind of almost broken enough. Oh, jeez. This is gonna be something else. But either way, we did manage to able to done with that, and I think that's where the next treasure room is. But before we do that, activate that switch just in case we'll keep on changing the conveyor belts sections, so that should be worth a while worth noting for. Alright, so we're looking for this jerk-off enemy right here. And whereabouts is he? I think, if I recall correctly, he was on the 5th box. Yep, the 5th box, as it is. Awesome. Alright, so now we're done with that, and now let's go ahead and leave. And while at it though, we still need to deal with the actual, well, I can usually press my left keypad just fine, but not so much on my right arrow keypad, because I have no idea why, of what's wrong with it. But either way though, it knows what it usually goes by, so... Anyways, I'm gonna have to able to time my jumps correctly, so hopefully I would be able to pass this point here. So, let's see, there we go, awesome. Alright, so now we've gone for that section now, so either way though, now we need to find our way to able to finish the level. So, as I said, changing the conveyor belts is key for this particular level, so, because that way it'll able to give us some progression going, so. Although this won't actually be the only time we can able to experience the factory level like this, because that will be until later on, but let's not get ahead of ourselves for this point right now, just because, well, obviously we're going to be still going on the actual, the first leniency and all that stuff though, before we're able to, well, do anything. So either way though, we'll just go back into this room over there. And obviously we still need able to change the conveyor belts, so yeah, this might take a bit some time to get used to with it. So we'll head back into that room again, and then trying to hit in here, if I was trying to entering the door, if that's to be the key of timing. There we go. And change the directions, and hit back. And sure enough, we're able to actually just to notice we can now able to go ahead and leave the level. But before we do with all that stuff though, I need to grab, you know, some more coins from up there. And I think there's going to be some more coins from that conveyor belt over there. So, oh gosh, we have that particular obstacle right here ever since in chapter 3. So, but anyway, we go away from that. So, there we go. We got about 214 coins so far in this level's case. So either way though, not too shabby and not too frustrating either way. Well, aside from that, jumping, well, crouch jumping to the right issue I always have. So, is it going to be 7 or 1? Wait for it. I'm guessing this is 7 because I can definitely see the actual that little pivot point at the top left corner, so 7 as it is. And there we go, we got 19 pieces so far, so either way though, yeah, it looks like we've almost at the halfway point for not only for the actual map, but also the entire Let's Play as well, so yeah, that sure is something. Story 5, anyone for B-ball? I mean, what is this, like baseball or basketball? Although my guess is the fact that since we're on the town square, meaning that it's gonna be basketball, I'm pretty sure. Which reminds me is the fact that that particular moment is gonna be almost entirely related to Space Jam, even the upcoming film Space Jam: A New Legacy that's about to due out at some point on, God knows, on the big screen or HBO Max, but either way though, we'll find out and see what happens and join at some point, possibly until next month, so yeah, that could be something, alright. So anyways, let's go ahead and, you know, usually collect some more coins here and there while trying to avoid a lot of these enemies, including some breakable platforms from time to time. Like, if you can tell that about the fact that if you come across into quite a few breakable platforms like these two up there, you notice that the visuals on these platforms will actually slightly differ. Likely, if you see too many emphasis on, well, a bit of a lighter texture, meaning about the fact that, well, if you step on these, then these things crumble. Whilst it's like pure normal like these platforms there, then you'll be safe. So, yeah, that's sure it's something, I suppose. So, either way though, yeah, let's just go ahead and keep on going up to the staircases, and Well, honestly, this world wasn't as long as I thought it was going to be. I mean, sure, it can be a bit longish at times for able to try to explore well enough for certain levels worth noting for grabbing more coins here and there, but at the same time, though, it's all I can honestly try to think of, so... Alright, so let's go ahead and jump from these little annoying... Oh, dang it! Oh, I'm so close! I somehow got screwed from that stingy jump right there. Ah, I was literally that close to able to actually just to go up there. But again, thankfully those enemies do respawn from time to time if you manage to able to, well, leave the room or re-entering the room again. So, jeez Louise, man, I'm having so many problems with that. That timing jumps, and even especially noticeable with these stupid birds just keep on dashing straight towards me. I mean, usually, relatively speaking, that will be the only and most annoying enemies in the game, in my opinion, just because you never know to predict the actual movements and all that stuff. And even if they try to spot you, they'll just charge straight at you, which, because of that, though, it'll become a little bit more, well, how should I put it, a little bit aggravation, to say the least, so... And then, once again, I keep losing coins in the process. In addition to that, I'm stuck in this little, moment right there that's kind of annoying that I somehow managed to get a really aggravating knockback at times for able to actually getting hit by certain enemies, and it forces me to leave the room, and it's just like I have no words to able to think about. Okay, so the boss door is actually over to there, so but before we get into that, we need to find the treasure first, so I'm sure there might be a treasure around here somewhere, so hopefully we'll try to find that at some form or another. But anyways, let's use this enemy to break the enemy blocks from over there, so we can able to get even more coins from that Wario coins, as you see right there. So anyway, so let's go ahead and well, obviously just I have no words to say about this, I'm afraid, but either way, let me just see what's in this room. Well, I can definitely tell that if we go into this window over there, I'm pretty sure this is where if you manage to lose the boss fight, then it'll basically just manage to take you into that section, so... Yeah, it's not much right to hum about, but hey, at least it's something, I suppose. I think I should probably try that particular section again, but if I get screwed over quite a few times, even though thankfully I did manage to able to lose a few coins, but still, it's kind of feels a bit tricky to do with timing and what have you, but oh dang it, I have to go right near to it, but thankfully I managed to pull this off, so awesome. Alright, so let's go ahead and grab some even more coins from there. I know that something is usually over there or down to the bottom, but I might not worry about that too much, because I think we've got 198 coins as it goes, but I'm pretty sure we need to, like... Well, I have no words able to think about it, so either way though... is there a breakable wall in here? No, it doesn't look like it, so either way though... Oh jeez, I have no idea where the treasure room is. Even though, again, it has been about a couple of days since I actually did manage to able to get back into this though, but... Oh, hold on a second. Okay, so I did manage to do a jump cut right there because I somehow realized that I somehow completely bypassed the actual room that does have a treasure in the treasure room in there. So because of that, it's gonna be on one of those breakable well, floors that we have to ground pound on. And also at the same time, we need to still use the enemies to able to use to break the enemy blocks, as you saw. So either way though, so yeah, I wasn't paying attention to that, I'm sorry. So either way though, we'll go ahead and deal with all that, and break some more blocks, grab more coins, and I think that's what the treasure room is. So yeah, there's nothing on all the way to the right. So either way, we found the actual treasure room, so yay! Alright, so we're once again gonna go for hard mode, so because of that though, I just feel like trying to able to save up some, you know, plenty of coins, like 219 coins, so, but again, if I screw this up, I'm gonna have to able to redo the entire mini game again, while able to try to waste a lot of coins, so... There we go, we managed to found the enemy that is shown on the actual padlock, and we've got a motorcycle. Or motor scooter, to be more specific. So, or a micro scooter or something. Well, usually as far as I can tell for that already. So anyways, I think that we're pretty much done with it from here. And now we're gonna be faced off against with the next boss. So, in fact, this next boss might actually felt a little bit different, because as you can tell, we got ourselves these little 3 lights up there. Well, from both sides anyway. And here's the forms of the next boss fight, which appears to be known as Dunk the Rabbit. Meaning that in this particular boss battle involved is that we are playing basketball. Get it? Because obviously that B-ball and anything else like that represents basketball. So basically, in this boss fight is the fact that you need to be the one, you need to able to score about 3 points. And if you score 3 points, you will be the winner and you move on to the next level. However, if Dunk managed to able to get 3 points before you do, basically it actually just tosses you into the upper screen. So because of that though, yeah, you don't let that happen. So yeah, you got to avoid his attacks though, like these little mini basketballs that he's trying to able to toss you with. And then as you can see on screen, I managed to transform into Wario Ball, and basically that happens when Dunk managed to able to stomp you. So, and then if you manage to get caught by Dunk, and then basically Dunk were able to actually score a goal. So because of that though, yeah, this boss might actually get a lot of emphasis on aiming skills, even though as you can tell I'm having some struggles with the up aiming because my arrow keypad up is not even work with me half the time, which I definitely need to fix that at some point, especially whenever we get towards the end of the forms of well, let's just say until the next chapter, but either way though, it knows what it is. And able to actually go back into its normal state, like Wario right here, basically is how to get hit by that mini basketballs. So, yeah, actually kind of think about it, I actually do really like this boss fight more than anything, because it's a little bit different more than others, and rather than deal with the damage on Dunk, you have to score 3 points in order able to actually win the game. Although there's actually kind of a similar boss fight from this until Wario Land 3, but let's not mention more about it until whenever we get to Wario Land 3. So, there we go, we win! Nice. And I think that pretty much takes care of the forms of Chapter 4. So, yeah, Chapter 4 I should say. So, yeah, pretty swell run I have to say. So, but before we end things off, we need to deal with the forms of the matching number panel game first. It could be either be 9 or 8 or 4. I'm guessing this is 9 because I can definitely see that little oh wait, no, it's actually 4. Oh jeez, I wasn't paying attention after all. But hey, at least we found 4. So anyways though, I think suffice to say is the fact that we'll go ahead and end things off here. So join me next time for more Let's Play of Wario Land 2 is the fact that we are moving on to the next chapter, which is Chapter 5. So, yeah, it should be exciting, I suppose. So, I'll see you guys on Friday. Later, fellas.